Okay, according to my phone, it is now 7:30, so we will officially start the meeting for June 1st. First thing we have to do. Are you all set, Jean, as far as your technical stuff?
I hope so. I got it on my phone, so we hopefully are good.
Okay, so we've got myself, Scott, John, and Linda, regular members, and Aga was the first one here as far as the waiting room for alternates. So Aga, you're going to be the voting alternate, even though it looks like we had Mark for a while there. Did he disappear?
Can you hear me?
There he is.
You,
Sorry, I was having an issue with my audio in the beginning. Can you see me though?
You're good?
yeah,
Yep.
we see you now.
Thank you.
Okay. So Aga was here before you, Mark. So we got 4 other guys. So you're in the waiting room.
Okay, got it.
Okay. First thing on the agenda is, well, we did it. We determined that we got a quorum. And we're going to vote on the minutes of May 4th, which was run ably by our vice chair, Scott Dale. It looked good to me, but I wasn't there, so you guys have got to comment on it.
I think they're fine. I was there. I think there were 3 of us that were there that were here now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we want to make a motion to accept those minutes?
Motion to accept the minutes of the previous.
Do we have
weeks.
a second?
I second the motion.
Thank you.
Okay, I can do it because she was there. Okay, all those in favor? I abstain because I was absent.
Aye.
Do we have 3?
Aye.
Mhm.
Linda, did you say, were you there? Yeah, you were there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You vote yes?
And that was
Okay.
there.
So the motion passes. All right. Now, let us now go on to the next item. We got here.
And Mike,
No old business? Well, there's a piece of old business, but they got it as a separate item. Piece of old business is that we're getting a new land use manager, director. I haven't met the person yet, but I think as far as the commission should at least send a note to Rochelle, thanking her for her service in the past year for supporting us. She did a nice job. Okay. Other business proper. Status of commissioner training courses completed. They didn't pick me up at the last meeting, but Scott and I attended the same online meetings that time. So I also have completed the training. I don't know how the rest of the folks are doing.
I emailed Christina, but she wasn't sure what training I was talking about, so I emailed her again.
I might have the note from Rochelle from way back when, and I'll forward it to you if I can find it.
Okay, thank you.
The last link I got from Christine was not valid.
That's, I thought, okay.
I'm waiting for an updated link.
Yeah, I was also waiting for an updated link. I didn't receive anything.
Okay,
Oh, Linda, I think you're on mute. I can't hear you.
you see
Yeah,
her
she
bouncing
has audio
around.
problems. Yeah. Yeah. No, you're,
Oh, yeah, now you're definitely on mute. Yeah, I can't hear you.
Nobody can hear you, Linda. The little button over in the corner.
If you want, you can click chat and then you can type a message into that and then we can read your message.
Yeah, I had issues tonight too with my speaker. I had to do, I'm on the phone. It's the only way I hear you guys. I don't know what happened. Zoom is rusty on my computer.
Guess we gotta do more of these Zoom meetings. This is what we gotta do.
Yeah, we're definitely out of practice.
All right. I'm gonna move on. We'll try to get that link for everybody. Don't know whether I'm gonna be successful myself, but we will try. All right, zoning commission meeting, go through those minutes and
But there's 3 meeting minutes of zoning.
yeah, well, we'll go through the first one, which is April 27th. And let's see, a lot of stuff here that was normal, wouldn't apply to us. Most of that was residential stuff up there. Oh, there was in their correspondence, item number 6. There was a complete discussion about dissolving planning commission and combining it with the zoning commission. One of the Combe made that comment. He added that he did not favor this item and had drafted a letter to the first selectman, Tara Carr. He stated he would send the letter to the commissioners for review. Later on, in the follow-on minutes, he said that isn't what he meant. So, anyhow, just to let you know, that's the only thing that pertained to us. Let's see, no, 6. That's 7 pages. The Sokol Club, they finally voted on that one. And the motion to approve the application with that zone change did not carry. So I guess that's going to continue in the courts. All right, the next set of minutes is Zoning Board of Appeals, May 1st. And that was mostly all residential people coming in asking for lot line revisions or setback changes. Pretty much business as usual. So nothing jumped out at me on that one to comment on. Then we had the Board of Selectmen meeting on May 8th. Okay. If you plan to go on town hall on Fridays, forget it. Summer hours are now here. That's their announcement. The summer hours have been established in town hall, and senior center, and all parks and rec are now closed early on Fridays at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So, and they also talked about the budget. And let's see, was there anything else? Oh yeah, the police department got a motorcycle. They sold the parade, which went by my house the other day. They got a new motorcycle, police motorcycle, BMW. Looks very nice. It even has a siren on it. He demonstrated it to me, so I think that's really great. They also purchased a Hummingbird sonar unit, whatever that is, for $4,000. The police did for their dive team. And also one of our acquaintances was made, it has another title. Ralph Tedesco is now tree warden in addition to his other duties, as is James Doctor. He also was made tree warden. So we have 2 tree wardens in the town, and their term ends in February of '24. Any other comments on any of the minutes I've talked about so far? If not, I'll continue on.
No,
Okay, the zoning meeting of May 11th. Yeah, they had a public hearing on the text amendment to extend the moratorium on cannabis sales. They did note that we had made a comment about it in your minutes. They did close their the hearing. They made a motion to extend the moratorium on cannabis to May 15th. It says 2023, but I'm not sure. Here it is. And they had changed it to 2024. Okay. Motion included an agreement to contact the Board of Selectmen to obtain a decision within 90 days on how they plan to proceed. i.e., they didn't want to do a cannabis thing unless they had direction from the Board of Selectmen. If the board does not proceed, the zoning commission will write regulations regarding cannabis sales within the town. And that motion carried. Okay.
Listened to some of that meeting, and I'm not, correct me if I'm wrong, but did one of the members of the zoning commission volunteer to write draft regulations and then they would be reviewing it following meeting?
I think they would do that after the Board of Selectmen. Yeah, somebody volunteered.
Yeah, I think that's the next set of minutes.
Okay.
But they were still waiting for the Board of Selectmen. Also in new business, I know we've had comments about that land that was being cleared down off of Graysbridge Road a couple meetings ago. And in new business under 23 Graysbridge Road, there's a discussion going on about putting up a storage building, a 4-story storage building. And when I looked on my Apple Maps app, exactly where they cut down and all that clearing that everybody's been asking about. So it's like they want to do a storage warehouse there. Yeah, here it is. It's a 4-story self-storage building with 22 parking lot spaces. And Inland Wetlands has approved it already. Zoning is still considering. I'm going to move on to if there's any more here, comments. The Zoning Commission had another meeting. Boy, you combine us, we have 1 meeting a month. They have 3 in 1 meeting.
We're efficient.
Yeah, we're efficient. I can tell you that. May 25th meeting. They had an executive session, which they didn't say what happened at that. Talked to the lawyers, but didn't say anything was resolved. Enforcement. Yeah, in the minutes of May 25th, Mark, this is where you got the volunteering on the cannabis, I believe.
Would that if they were to develop regulations, would that come back before us in any way?
Or they may want us to comment on them.
Yeah.
There's nothing in the regs that require them to do that.
I think I may have missed it before, but earlier, did you comment on, you said that the Brookfield Police Department purchased a sonar equipment?
Yeah, for a dive team, they had the Brookfield dive team.
Okay.
Police dive team.
Okay, is that something that was ever discussed at like a WestCog meeting? Or because I know like when it comes, like one of the purposes of, the councils of government in Connecticut was to, coordinate purchases like that between towns. And I'm just thinking to myself, like in the event that, they need to use a sonar to search for somebody, then like the towns, they could coordinate together and they could share the cost of purchase like that.
Well, I think they took it out police funds that they have
Okay.
a slush bucket that they accumulate, I guess, from fines, et cetera. And they spent some of those funds to acquire it.
Okay. Yeah, no, I was just thinking that like going forward when it comes to these big purchases, especially when, something's not used frequently, like, if they're searching for a missing person in the water, then that's something that could be discussed at a WestCog meeting so that the towns because every town on Candlewood Lake is a member of WestCog. So,
Well, usually you see, you get the Candlewood Lake Authority and the Lilinoa Lake Authority, depending on which lake it is, they're doing things. They seem to coordinate the activities of all those various agencies to when they're doing the search for unknown victims or whatever.
I think just in general, though, it's good to frame, whenever you're, thinking of how, like, when a purchase should be made, is this something that other towns would also benefit from? And if so, could we share the expense and coordinate that at like a WestCog meeting? But that's just this a thought I had, but it's something.
No, nothing
I
wrong
wanted
with
to
the
mention.
thought. Nothing wrong with the thought, not at all. We got a letter from Newtown. It's basically for us, it's just FYI information for us. It's not really anything that we act on. It's more intended for the zoning commission to be aware that they're doing this. So if they want to update their regs to be similar, they have what Newtown is doing. And the gist of the memo is, or what they're doing is they're further clarifying what food trucks can be, where, and what they define a food truck. And they tell where they can operate, how many can be operating. They can be operating at brew pubs. They kind of think now it can be up to 3 at a brew pub. Distillery could have a couple, 3. Farmers market could have, what's in here? We could have 3. So these food trucks is where they can do it. And then they also said mobile food establishments can be at vineyards and wineries. 2 are allowed there. They also allow for private gatherings. So interesting reading, but it really doesn't have anything to do with planning, just a FYI. So now we are at informal discussion.
I got a couple things I can mention.
Okay, go ahead.
If you don't already have them in mind, one of them anyway, one is that broadband
Yeah,
discussion.
the broadband meeting that's coming up, right?
Yeah.
He's got a schedule for that. I already got it on my calendar.
Yeah, the original dates that they had, I think were actually should have been this week. I could have made those, but I don't know if I can make the ones that they have now that are rescheduled.
It turned out the ones that they changed them to were all the meetings I could. The other ones, I had doctor's appointments and everything
Yeah.
else.
I'm the opposite. So I know one question that I raised, and I think I did mention it. I sent a note to Greg. That is just the idea of technological evolution, and I'm hoping somebody can ask this question because I'm interested in hearing the answers. How do we keep up, right? If we spend all this money on an infrastructure and we put it in place, and then 2 years down afterwards it becomes obsolete. And so I'm hoping that someone can ask that question so I can eventually hear the answer of how that.
What type of infrastructure are you talking about?
All of it. If we're investing in, if the proposal is for us to invest in this, then how do we keep up? Right now, now it'd be up to your provider to do that, right?
Well, typically, you see how it doing, it sort of dribbles out at us. It does- You know, they do that with cell towers and so forth. They ask for our opinion.
Mhm.
Here's again, they're asking for our opinion on broadband.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know
So
when
it-
5G started out, they were asking our opinion on 5G.
Yep.
So it sort of dribbles out as technology comes into play. And usually some corporation makes a pitch to the town, say, you guys, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Yeah.
You ought to jump on it.
Right.
So,
So those would be the kind of decisions that if we own it, then that's something that we have to know that that's something we might have to face.
yeah. But it sort of shows up on our plate.
Mhm.
Can we hear
Um,
Linda yet?
No, I got one other question.
Yeah, I do. I just wonder whether, go ahead.
No, just because I saw that, I think it was in the minutes of last meeting for the EDC. They mentioned starting to work on the plan of conservation and development. I just wanted to ask more or less about the timetable that's involved in that. Not that we want to jump on that, but just what's the timetable? Do we need to
Gotta be done by
even have
2025.
start to put some framework there?
We gotta be done by 2025.
I understand that, but that's not when you start, right?
No, that's not where we start. We have to decide how we want to do it.
Yeah.
Last time we, as a commission, with the help of the land use director that we had at that time, who was very good, who's now the Westport town manager, or town land use manager. She did a lot of work in conjunction with the commission as we updated the one that we had prior to that, which was the 2005 plan of development. We could do that. It took a lot of time, a lot of work. It's sort of a painful process. We're so painful that one time we got into an argument at one meeting and one member was unhappy with the rest of the way the commission was thinking. He jumped up and resigned at that spot and left the commission.
Okay.
The one that we had in 2005 was contracted, which is another way to go for it. They would believe it costs somewhere in excess of $50,000, which we went to the town for, saying, hey, we don't have the expertise to do it. These people, and they come in with a very glitzy presentation, tell you exactly what they do. They'll do surveys, they do all kinds of studies, and they basically give you a first draft of what a new plan will look like.
Yeah.
And then you take that draft and you modify it to the needs that we feel are necessary. And that's another way to do it. It's something we got to start discussing next year, how we want to go about it. I'd like to have a new land use director in place at that time. I'd also like to have this issue of how we combine with zoning or not combine with zoning resolved, because I think based on the record we saw with cannabis regulations and so forth, that we tried to do it ourselves as a 9-member group. I don't know whether that's going to work very well. So, anyhow, I don't know if I answered your question or not, Scott.
So when did you start? Did you start a year in advance, 2 years in advance?
Year.
1 year?
About a year, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And it's one of those things where if we're not completely done on time, state isn't going to kill us for it. We don't get shot. That's the goal.
Mhm. Okay, so I did hear though,
But
that it
the
sounds like
reason
some of
why
the
they
other
want,
boards are
why they,
starting.
I'm
work
sorry.
on it.
Reason
Yeah.
why they like to have it in place is because a lot of the grants and so forth that they got is because we have put something in the document about it, like the Still River Greenway, police department wanting a new building and so forth. A lot of that's already into the old document so that when guys like Greg Dombrowski go out and look for a grant, you can refer that it's a part of our plan of development. So that's the other thing. So a lot of this is trying to have joint meetings with other commissions and so forth. See what they want in it. see if they have any suggestions. There's usually 2 or 3 public hearings along the way. It's one of those things where you're gonna have a full agenda on doing these things during the year,
Right.
all right?
So EDC, I think, has mentioned that they're gonna start to do some work on this, though, right? That's what
Well,
prompted
that's
me
fine,
thinking
'cause-
we need to start doing anything on our side.
Let's see what they got. More than willing to accept any help that we can get from any source.
Okay.
Anything else for informal discussion? Linda, are you talking or not? No, she's not. Somebody want to substitute for Linda and make that motion?
Looks like she made it
Oh, she made it? I didn't hear it.
in the chat.
Oh, there it is in the chat. Motion to adjourn. Okay, got it. Got it. All right. Is there a second to
Second.
that motion?
Second.
Got a second from John. All right. All those in favor?
I,
See you guys in July. I guess it's July 20th.
Yeah, yeah, wow.
Oh, that's gonna throw me.
Quite a
Okay.
gap.
All
Yeah,
right.
well, that's because of July 4th. We decided
Yeah.
to have only one meeting in July.
All right, great,
All
thanks.
All
Have
right.
a good
Thank
night.
everybody for
Have a good
joining.
one.
Have a good night.
night,
Good night,
Oh, don't
everybody.
forget, there's a block party next Sunday.
Yeah.
good night.
Okay,
Good night.
have a good night.
Night.
Peace.